All right. Speaking of interesting, there was an interesting article on Yahoo. Frank Schwab wrote it about the QBs, Rob, from the class of 2021. I'm gonna name some of them: Darnold, Sam Darnold, or it was Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, not Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. If you want to go deeper, Davis Mills. But the article talked about how none of them are delivering. Rob G, summarize it.
Oh, to say they're not delivering would be an understatement. Now, the premise of this article starts off by saying that not only has this class been underwhelming, 2021 that is, but even more so when you factor in that there were several pundits who proclaimed the 2021 quarterback class to be the best one we'd seen in almost 40 years. They were comparing it to that famed 1983 class with Dan Marino. And obviously, none of these guys popped. Specifically, Trevor Lawrence was considered the best prospect since, Andrew Luck.
And you remember, can't miss.
Right. So he was saying that when you have a quarterback class that is that heralded, perform this poorly, when coupled with the fact that you got the old guard of Tom Brady looks a little shaky, Aaron Rodgers looking shaky, Russell Wilson looking beyond shaky.
Right.
That you need these young quarterbacks to step up and fill that void to keep the NFL, humming along, moving forward.
Like he says, it's a problem.
It is a problem. And in his closing statement, and this is exactly how you said it, Chris, the NFL needs its younger quarterbacks to fill the void left behind by Rodgers, Brady, Russell Wilson. If the 2021 quarterback class is a total washout, that leaves massive holes around the league, and the league needs good quarterbacks.
Rob, I disagree. And now, look, I don't disagree about the class of 2021. So far, they have been a washout. We'll see what becomes of that class. But regardless, there are plenty of very good, some great, some very good young quarterbacks to fill that void. When Rodgers and Brady leave, we got Patrick Mahomes, who's young still. We got Josh Allen, who's still young. Joe Burrow, young. Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, young. I don't know what Tua's going to be, but he's looked good so far this year when he's on the field. Dak Prescott, not great, but a very good quarterback. Kyler Murray has had 2 great years. You talked about that last week. He's been down this year, but we'll see what he ends up being. There's no way I accept the narrative. Jalen Hurts, who's having a tremendous year. Some people think he is an MVP right now. He's certainly a candidate. Like, Rob, you're not going to have every team or 2/3 of the teams with a great quarterback. To me, it is way off to say there's a dearth of good young quarterbacks that won't fill the void left by Rodgers and Brady.
Yeah, but I do understand in that class where he's looking at
the class. I totally agree.
That class and Rob G, am I wrong? That is it this year? They only got, is there one quarterback, right?
Yeah, Kenny Pickett was taken in the first round as the only one.
Right.
This one wasn't even
now that's
promoted as
right.
a great
That was
class.
2 years, right, where nobody's coming out of that, and obviously there's still some time. I'm not saying that they're all not going to not pan out. We've seen Lawrence, Chris, even come on a little bit. He has, right, where he was terrible early, but he's had his moments. But my point is, I don't totally agree with him, but I understand his point. Like, if you go 2 or 3 years without anything, quarterback-wise, and despite what they have out there, and you do have some good young players, that eventually time goes on, and those guys are supposed to fill spots. And because it was such a heralded quarterback class, I think that's really what he's talking about. Like, those people were celebrated. Oh, my God. Look at these guys, and for right now, none of them to pan out. I see that. Mahomes obviously has been around. How many years he's been here? 4 years? Or is it 5? 4?
5.
5 years.
Yeah.
Now, he's not old,
Right.
But
that's where I push. I agree with you and
you know what I mean, right?
About there's no denying the class of 2021. And like you said, the jury's still out. But right now, it's been disappointed. This year's class wasn't even supposed to be very good. Next year, though, you got Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. You know, you're supposed to have some good quarterbacks in that class. What I'm saying, though, Rob, he mentioned, like, in addition to Brady and Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger's gone. Phillip Rivers is gone. Who was the other one he mentioned that slipped? Drew Brees gone. But, Rob, I just named, like, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar are elite. Burrow and Herbert may be elite. That's 5 elite ones right there. There's a lot of times where you only have 5 or fewer elite quarterbacks in the league. And that's not to mention, will Jalen Hurts become elite? You know, so I just think that's what I push back on, is the notion that there could be, you know, a dearth of great quarterbacks in the league. I don't see that at all. I think there's, you know, I mean, as many great ones as there's ever been. And then there's a bunch of pretty good ones and then some bad ones. And, you know, I just think that's how it's always been. They're not all going to be like in the same class, you know?
Yeah, I get it. I think his argument was probably better about talking about the 2021 class.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like right. That this is a bust. Like, this is bad. Like right now, looking at it, it's no good. Like, it's shocking that those guys who everybody thought were going to be spectacular didn't turn out or not.
Yeah. Right.
So